This is a juicy one, Ed. So this person has got a little bit of an issue with their hiring manager. Dear JT and Ed, I have a particular hiring manager that I think doesn't respect me, doesn't get me feedback when I need it on candidates, never seems happy with the people that I present. This individual is making my job much harder. What can I do, and what are the signs that I am being disrespected as a recruiter?
Yeah, I think we've all been there, quite frankly. And some of the signs you listed, but I would add to that they're working around you, that they're not following your process, that they're not valuing your feedback, your input. Those are just some of the other ones that I think are obvious signs, or just not responding to you at all, like you had mentioned. So what do? I'm a big fan of understanding and making hiring managers partners, but if you can't and they're not playing by the rules and they don't see the value there, then what you do is you show them the value. And what I mean by that is when I used to run recruiting teams, and I used to get this all the time from recruiters working under me at small companies and really, really large companies. And what I would say to them is, you make an SLA with them, a service level agreement, that if they don't respond to you within 48 hours, you put the job on hold. And they'd always say, what? You put the job on hold? Are you crazy? Yes, you put the job on hold. Because clearly it's not important to them. You've got other things to do. And so at the end of the day, what it's saying to that hiring manager is, if it's not important to you, then it shouldn't be important to me. And I've got other clients to serve in the company. When you're ready, we can put it off. We can take it off hold and get going again. When you say that to them, the answer usually is, no. Sorry, I misunderstood. What do I need to do to get this going? Okay? If for some reason they push back on that, then you say, I'd like to have a discussion. Email is the enemy of all relationships. I really and truly believe that. What you need to do is find a time without scheduling it, but dropping by if you can, or calling unannounced, and really having a discussion and putting it out there. So again, there's the put the job on hold, which is threatening but not really threatening. And then there's the conversation. And the conversation is, you really calling it on the carpet. You know what, hiring manager? I've noticed that these things are happening. It's really upsetting me because I want our relationship to be better, and I want you to understand, what we can do to work together to be really successful. Let's talk about what your problems may be and how we can solve them.
Yeah.
Again, go ahead.
No,
please.
I want to jump in because I completely agree. I think this person is being disrespected. It's plain and simple.
Yep.
And what we've got here is not a fair balance of power. Right? So you've got this hiring manager that thinks you're my service provider recruiter and I can treat you any way I want to. So clearly this person doesn't understand what's involved in your job and the challenges that your job presents, but also candidly, you can't do your job without them in certain ways. And so I love your idea. I think you need to sit down with this hiring manager and map out, I want to tell you what happens from the moment I sit down and do an intake meeting with you and get your requirements all the way through to this person being filled in the job. I want to tell you what's involved in my end. I want to show you a market report. You can quickly do a search and say, look at how many job openings there are similar to ours, and look at how many people there are in the marketplace. This is a tough fight. This is a slog. We've got to work together on this. I also think you need to map out the points that say, if I don't get feedback from you here, the process stops, like you said. And I love your idea of a 48-hour, and it's on hold. But I think you should build that through the whole process, that when I volley it to your court, this is the time frame I have. If I don't get it from you, you go to the back of the pile. And
Absolutely.
Explain why, that I can't do my job for you. And while I'm waiting, I'm losing candidates. I'm hurting my recruiter reputation with this talent. And our company's brand is suffering as well because these people are seeing a process that really isn't up to par, right? That doesn't stand out. So for me, it's about educating them on your process, what's involved, and why that partnership is so necessary for you to be able to do your job. Otherwise, it truly is a waste of your time. And that's really how you have to get that respect, because I unfortunately see too many recruiters being pleasers, right? And so they don't realize that to be really good at your job, you're supposed to be efficient. And instead, they're throwing 50 resumes at the hiring manager, and they're doing whatever the hiring manager asks. So think too, what have you done so far in the relationship that has allowed it to happen this way, because hiring managers treat us the way we allow them to treat us, like everybody in life. So you also have to look back at what's happened to this point and say, how I've been recruiting and how I've been presenting myself as a recruiter at this company and with this hiring manager in particular, what I've allowed to happen behavior-wise, that's on me. And I'm going to take the responsibility for that. But this point forward now, I'm going to change how I interact with this person, because if I don't, then we can't get the results together. And that's the honest conversation I'd want to have. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, one of the things that I think cuts this off at the curb ahead of time is in process to expand on what JT was saying, is show them what's behind Oz's curtain. Really have a standing weekly meeting where you're going through, these are how many people I've reached out to, this is the response rates, this is what's going on here, this is my sourcing plan here. A lot of angst, what I found over the years in hiring manager and recruiter relationships, is from not knowing. Silence is never good in this relationship. And as long as a hiring manager knows, even if it's meeting with them that week and saying, I've got nothing for you this week, but here's what I've done, it makes that nothing a lot more easy to swallow. Because what happens when a hiring manager doesn't hear anything, they start to think you're not doing your job.
I couldn't agree more. We have a brand as a recruiter in the company, and if you aren't marketing that brand and you aren't showing your value, then they are going to think the worst. And so with that in mind, folks, I hope you really think about what you're doing in order to build that equal partnership. All right, so if you enjoyed this edition of Recruit Hub, then Ed and I have got to ask you, why aren't you inside Recruit Hub? It is where recruiters like you are getting elite level courses, coaching, and community from none other than Ed and myself.
Yeah, it's been, already in just a short time since we've launched, really cool to see some of the conversations that are going on. But also, I got to tell you, JT and I put a lot of thought into putting this courseware together to give you a comprehensive view for all levels of recruiters, in-house, agency, you name it. It really covers everything that you want to know, from A to Z, from employer brand to interviewing to behavioral interviewing. You name it, it's in there. On top of that, though, like JT mentioned, I never had a career coach. I had mentors, I had people helping me, but what this is a private community of people who are just like you and I, and you get coaching from myself, from JT, and from each other. It's such a great way for people to collaborate and ask questions in a private forum that's not on social media, where you don't have to fear repercussion of asking a question that might be one level or another level, or looks silly asking a question. So at the end of the day, it's a tool that JT and I put together that we think really encompasses everything that we always wanted and people need today.
Yeah, there's no setup fees. It's a monthly subscription. You can cancel at any time. Come in and test it out for a month. See what you think. I guarantee you're going to be addicted. We're a tribe of recruiters, and we're always looking to learn best practices. It's not about technology, it's about technique. And what you're going to do in here is really take your skill level up and have a lot of fun doing it and meet a lot of amazing people in our space. So I hope you come check us out and join us on Recruit Hub.
See you there.